Yo, salud. Welcome back, guys. Hope everyone has had a beautiful, blessed day and are like relaxing and chilling or doing whatever. If you're at the gym, whatever you got going on. Hope your day has been beautiful, man. Hope it's been lovely, man. Today's talk is basically going to be about accepting the call. And I'm not talking about from a thought box or somebody you should probably not be fucking with or a soul tie, none of that shit. I'm talking about accepting the call that the Most High has on your life. Now, I know some people probably about to click off, and that's okay. Hopefully, he'll bring you back, and you be like, I needed this. I wasn't ready, but now I'm ready. Hopefully, if not me, someone else will get you on your journey. But for those who are ready to stay in tune or ready to tap in, I want to talk to you guys about accepting the call, the divine call that God has on your life. It is not easy sometimes, guys. You can, especially if you are a believer. Now, I'm not, for people who are not non-believers and they're just like, whatever. I'm talking to a very specific group of people who would love to have you a part of the group. We would love to have you. But if you're not there yet, still love, still light. I'm not judging. I hope God comes into your life and touches your heart, renews your mind, all of the things, all of the biblical things, and all of the real things that He is going to do eventually, or eventually if you allow Him to, because He's always ready for all of His kids, all what is it, like 5, 3, 5, 4 billion, 2, 3, 4, how many people on the earth? God is always talking to everyone. He's that big and even grander. Anywho, accepting the call on your life. When you're a believer, at least I'm going to speak from my experience, it's not always easy to accept the call, but God is always guiding you in the direction He wants to go. If you are truly tapped in, and if you are truly following your divine nature and calling. I know for me growing up, dude, I've known church. I've been in church my whole entire life. Like literally, we were PKs without being PKs. But my pops is currently a minister in training. It's like my uncles are ministers. My grandpops was a minister. My cousins are ministers. Like that's all I've grown up around. You know what I'm saying? That's all that has been. That's the indoctrination I've had. That's just been my experience. But I've always had understanding and knowing who God was. Like I had open heart surgery at 4 years old. I was 4. 1997 I was 4 years old. And my mom's made us an appointment, and she was like, I'm going to talk about this more in my book. I am writing a book. You'll get the full details. But I was 4 years old when my mom took me and my sister in for a routine checkup. And the doctor listened to my heart, and he had to come back, and I had to get an EKG and all of these things. He had to run multiple tests. And when he finally got the test back, he had to come in. His name was Dr. Weineke. He had to come in and break the news to me and my mom. So he came down, set me down. 4-year-old. This is 4-year-old. This is a 4-year-old kid. I'm a child, 4 years old, and he's telling me, well, something's wrong with your heart, and you're going to have surgery and all this mumbo jumbo shit. Whatever. But I'm 4 years old and I'm processing this shit. So I'm like, all right, bro. This little P, 4-year-old. I'm like, okay, man. So, you mean to tell me something's wrong with my heart and not my little sister's Vinny's heart? When God makes hearts, He's supposed to make them right. I'm 4 years old, and this is what I tell the doctor. Like, my nigga, you need to go run some more tests, because that's some bullshit. I know my guy is not going to do me like that. I got to do that. But lo and behold, I have the scar on my chest to prove it, all of that shit. I have the photos. It's facts. It's actual. But I had to go through that as a 4-year-old kid. When I tell you I was in that hospital bed, little as fuck, with my little pigtails probably weighing more than I did. I'm being facetious, but literally, I was pretty much a fucking skeleton at 4 years old on that doctor's bed. And from then on, I have a song that goes into that. Called Love Me Still, like that whole thing. Like my mom was right by my side. My dad is a fellow earth sign. His stomach was fucked. He had the runs. I'm not gonna cap. He couldn't, like, it was too much. I have the same thing when I get nervous or anxious. My stomach cramps. It's not even like it's just what it is. But anywho, so my mom was by my side. I had praying family. I come from a praying family. I have grandmamas who pray, who's very spiritual, on both sides of my family. But at 4 years old, guys, when I went in, I knew God was gonna take me through it. I knew He was gonna wake me up. I knew that they were gonna get done what they needed to do. I was looking death in the face practically at 4 years old. 4. And I knew, like, man, God got me, bro. I was gonna be fine. Now, as a little kid, and I finally healed, and I had to go through the whole rehabilitation, like all of that. I had to go through all of that. Had to go in elementary. I wear a collared shirt with buttons on it, and like people can see my scar, and kids being little fucking assholes, because some kids are fucking assholes. Not all kids. Some kids are sweethearts, but some kids are assholes. What's wrong with your chest? What's wrong with you? Ew, I don't want to play with you. And I'm processing this shit as a 4 or 5 year old. I was in kindergarten at this time. People asking me what's wrong with me. Why do you have that machine on you? It's fucking EKG, because I have to go through a full day and go to bed to make sure I'm not gonna die in my sleep. I had to go through this as a 4 year old. This is a 4 year old. But even then, I knew that there was a divine call on my life. And I remember a lot of the times, because I was a big loner, a hermit, I really didn't fit in with a lot of people because I was just myself, even as a kid. And I was just I wasn't even an awkward kid. I was just a loner, bro. I didn't really fuck with kids. If it wasn't my brother and my sister or my cousins, like, I didn't really fuck with other kids, bro. I had one friend in elementary. Her name was Darika Prince. Shouts out to Darika. I don't know where you at. But I had one friend in elementary. Everybody else was like, oh, be my friend. Like, me, I did not give a fuck. I'm like, you gonna be my friend or you not gonna be my friend? I don't give a fuck. That's always kind of been me. Just the truth. But I remember even being in elementary, and like, because we were in church all the time, because of my grandmother being the mother of my childhood church, my pastor in my childhood church being my big cousin, Pastor Gillespie. When I tell you we were in church 7 days a week, me and my bro just talked about this shit and laughed about it this morning. Like, we were literally in church every damn day. It was always something going on. For us as kids, it was like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. But honestly, now that me and my bro chopped it up and we actually laughed and looked back on it, it's like those times in that church family was some of the most beautiful times of my life. It built me up spiritually, so I had a solid core foundation, and I knew that's what my mom and my dad wanted for all of their children. They wanted their children to have an attunement. They wanted us to be tapped into source and know, hey man, my babies, my kids, man, they gonna know about the Lord. They gonna know about God. They gonna know about source. They gonna know about Jah. They gonna know about Jehovah Nisi. They gonna know about we was gonna know about some God, y'all. And that's why we were there every day. And so even as a kid, I would always ask God, what is the call on my life? I just want to be a vessel, God. However you want to use me, I just want to be a vessel. Because I was so indoctrinated with, God. It's the truth. I was tapped in from a little 4-year-old. Well, honestly, younger, because I had the consciousness at 4 already to know, man, God gonna let me, I'm gonna be fine. God gonna let me come out. I'm gonna be cool, man. So that's why. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. But literally, I ask God all the time, God, however you want to use me, I just want to be a vessel. And so I remember my first love, my first passion. I'm gonna go back into this more like into my book that I'm it's a book. It's a book, man. I was like always asking God, I want to be called. I mean, I always want to know my purpose. I always want to be a vessel. And when I was 4 years old, still in the hospital, I was probably less than 24 hours out from having my surgery. And I had to walk around. You know how you got to walk around when you're in that wing, whatever shit, when you're in the hospital. You have to walk around. They want you to be active. My mom said, I think my mom said wanted us to get something to eat for us. And I was with my big brother Kel and my pops. And they took us to a kids play area over there in Cook's Children in 97. And the first thing I saw was a basketball goal and basketballs. And my brother I went over to it. My brother and Pop was showing me. You know what I'm saying? So I pick up a ball, less than 24 hours. Thanks, guys. Less than 24 hours out of a major surgery. Basically, I had an open heart surgery. They had to go rework some shit because my heart wasn't large. It was a thing. It was a whole thing. So I'm in there. They show me how to shoot. So I'm shooting. I'm lifting my arms up, shooting. And my mom comes back in and she's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? And like, they didn't get it. They men are men. Men be menning. And my mom was like, don't y'all know she can reopen her incision? Don't you know all that? And my mom, she ain't hold no punches, man. She was digging in their ass. Cause my mom's is my mom's. Stay on with mommy. And but it was a horrible, fucked up first experience until she came. Well, it was a wonderful experience until she came and, was momming. My mom was with my mom. But I was intrigued, man, about the game of basketball. So from I played basketball all through elementary, all through middle school, all through high school, messed around in college. Like, I wanted to go to the league. But there was a hurdle. Man. And that's a part of it. I wanted to really go to the WNBA when I was a little girl. I did. Like, that was like, when you grow up, what do you want to be? I want to go to WNBA. I want to hoop. That's what I want to do. I want to hoop, bro. But every time I was old enough to be able to play on a team, and they would have physicals at the school. And because of my previous history as a fucking 4-year-old little kid, they would never clear me to be able to play. I never got cleared to play. Imagine what that does to a kid psychologically. Imagine what that does to a kid who already was a loner, and that was the one thing that gave them solitude and gave them peace. That was my first love. Basketball was my first love. I have a whole written segment on basketball and my affinity for basketball. She's my love. Like, literally. Ball was life, man. But there was always that hurdle. And for me, it would break my spirit. Every time I go to a fucking physical, every year, I could never get cleared to play. I always have to go see an actual physician and him give me well, I don't know. It could be too strenuous on your heart. You can die. I'm like, if I die, I die. If I die, I die. That's how I felt, because that's how deeply I loved basketball. That's how deeply I cared about hooping. And I went through that shit, man. I went through that shit when I hooped at the Y in elementary. I went through that shit as I hooped in middle school. I went through that shit as I hooped in high school. And like, when I tell you I played every year, that was always a thing. I would always meet this hurdle. And everybody else, when I was younger, when I was like middle school and high school, I went more so elementary, middle school, high school, like up until my senior year of high school, I was like, man, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. I don't care. I had such a strong belief in self and in God that I was like, man, I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna do this. I was that determined, fam. I was that determined. I was that resilient because everyone said I couldn't do it. That's for me. I'm not the person who they say I can't do it. I guess I can't do it. I was like, nah, bro, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I got something for your ass. I'm gonna show you that I really can do it. But that wears on the spirit, man. That wears on a person. It does. And it was my junior year in high school. I had made varsity. They had already been scouting me my sophomore year, and I finally, like, on the last couple of games of my sophomore year going into my junior year, they let me play. And like I worked that whole summer refining my skills, working on my skills to get better because I wanted to make it to varsity. I get to varsity, man, and this is an old wound that I had to work through. Our varsity coach at the time, she didn't believe in the unity of a team. She was an English teacher who knew about basketball. I don't know if she hooped or any of that, but she would bench me, and it wasn't because I wasn't capable or I didn't have the skills. Like, I was pretty damn amazing at basketball, man. I really was. But she played her seniors because they were older. And I'm not gonna lie, one of the physical things that I always had to overcome was more so my weight. It was always a thing. I've always been a bigger woman. I've never been a small woman. Even in my smallest in high school, I was still like one. I was still a big girl. I've always been a big girl, but I come from some thick ass women, baby. I'm a southern peach. I'm a southern belle. You know, so I've never been a small woman, even in the best shape of what I thought was my life at the time. I was still a bigger woman, and continuously being benched, coming to practice early, staying after practice, fucking other varsity people because they were seniors and they wouldn't even put the fucking work in. They would have practice, bro, and she would still start them over me, and like, it pissed me off. It pissed me off because I knew how hard I worked and how hard I wanted it. But because I didn't have the support of a coach, and because my mom and my dad were still leery, I didn't say that, but they were leery of me playing because they knew, like, high school varsity, they were worried about me basically hooping and passing out on the court, like my heart exploding and me dying from hooping. But if I was gonna die, I wouldn't have wanted at that time to go any other way. I would have died doing what I loved. So they were like, but my mom, she would come to the game. My mom would always come. I don't think my mom ever really missed a game. She was always there, up early, taking me to practice, picking me up after school from practice. When I tell you, y'all, ball was life, man. Ball was life, fam. I love you, mama. But like, man, like, literally. But going your whole life being told no by multiple people, multiple doctors, and now you at the precipice of your career trying to get scouted on varsity. Got people in the stands coming to check you out, like coming to check out the players, you know what I'm saying? You trying to get your scholarship, you trying to commit to a school. You don't get no PT. You don't get no playing time. So like, it hurt. That hurt like a motherfucker. In my junior year, I got very frustrated. I was already like, felt like I was looked over, like I wasn't respected, like I didn't get, like I felt away, fam. And it made me hate and resent that coach at the time, because it's like, you play favoritism, you play favorites, you don't you, that's old shit. But like, that's how I felt. And I remember I had a fucked up practice. I had a fucked up practice. My grandmother had just got re-diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I'm there hooping, but I'm not there mentally. I'm thinking about my moms, I'm thinking about my grandmother, I'm thinking about all of that, because that's one of the many bouts my mom's mom, battled with cancer. And this time it was bad, y'all. It was bad. So I had a fucked up practice, and I walk out in the middle of practice, and because I'm crying, I'm fucked up, I'm crying. And she comes and finds me, and I tell her what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing, and that's with my family. And we had already had run-ins, because I felt like she would pull me to the side. It's like it was psychological warfare. It was bullshit. It really was. She would pull me to the side. You're a great leader. Like, this is her in her office. You work hard. You're a great leader. Like, I see the greatness in you. I see the potential. She would tell me this in her office, but when it was time to play in the actual game, she would bench me. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it as a kid. I was 16. I didn't get it then. I'm not sure I all the way get it now. That's old shit, you know. But I tell her what happened, and she tells me, we all have problems. We all have things we're dealing with. Get back to practice. I tell you that my grandmother has cancer again. And that's what you tell me as a 16-year-old kid? So again, I was like, you don't really give a fuck about me. You don't really care. And then not even a week and a half later, at one of my games that I was benched at, my sister was about to play, my mom gets a phone call, and she has to leave and rush to the hospital. And my mom's little sister, my Aunt Monique, she is rushed to the hospital, and she doesn't make it. She doesn't make it. My Aunt Monique dies. So I don't come to school for a few days. And what made me really not like her during that time, now I've healed that. I moved past it. We are all flawed. We are all humans. When she found out that my aunt passed, this is the coach, she didn't even say anything to me. And it hurt. It's like, wow, you are a horrible person. That's what I felt then. Now that I'm older, I look back on it, and it's probably like, she probably didn't know what to say. She probably didn't know what to say. She probably felt like, fuck. But I was 16. She was probably in her 40s. So it made me feel like, I don't want to play for you anymore. So my senior year, I didn't hoop. I kept my skills intact. I would still hoop. I would still do my own thing. But I didn't hoop for her, because I was like, fuck you. And my mom and my dad weren't going to allow me to go to another high school to try to get scouted anymore. So I felt like basically that part of my life, that first passion, that first love, I put a Band-Aid over that unhealed trauma. I did. Because I thought that was the call God had put on my life. I thought through my story, like being a kid who had open heart surgery at 4, going through all the trials, not getting cleared to play, all of that. That was my story. Like, this is going to inspire millions. I felt that was my call. I felt that's how God wanted to use me. And now I get into this predicament in this space, and it's like I can't even hope anymore. This up until this point, that's what I wanted. And it was like, oh, you can hoop in college. I didn't go off to school because my whole thing was I'm gonna get a scholarship full ride as hooping that was gonna pay for school and was gonna allow me to go fulfill my basketball dream, my hoop dreams. That didn't happen. So what happens when the call you think is on your life is not the call on your life? How do you maneuver and find the call? And like when I went off to school, to my actual university, I would go hoop in the gym. This is my junior and senior year in college. Junior year, I didn't really hoop too much because I was trying to adjust to being alone on my own for the first time. My surroundings, trying to keep my grades in order. My senior year, I had a little bit more leeway. It was still tough. I still was going through shit. I had so much shit happening. But the only time I could clear my head was when I would write my music or I would go to the gym and hoop. When I say I stay in the gym just hooping for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, then I go hit the weights for like an hour and a half. That's when I was like small as shit. I got a video from my old Snapchat right here when I'm a lot smaller. All I did was go to the fucking gym. I was not eating a lot. I was just moving. And like the UNT basketball team, the girls on that team were scouting me. Like they wanted to hoop with me and everything. And every time they would come in there looking for me, I would leave. Old wounds, old baggage. It's too late for me. That's no longer my call. Who knows if I would have still felt or had the faith to know I'm still going to try again, that who knows what would have happened. Who knows? I could have maybe been in the WNBA because I was really that fucking good, y'all. Like, I could have made it, y'all. Like, I could have hooped. If not for the WNBA, I could have did overseas. Like, I could ball, y'all. Like, I could ball, fam. But I buried that passion because when that died, I felt like my calling had died. I felt like it did. And damn. Reverence, that's revelation. That's revelation. That's revelation. If I would have continued to think in the mind state that I am now as a 30-year-old and would have been able to realize that as a 21-year-old when I was at UNT, I could have maybe fulfilled that so call of what I thought it was. But I didn't have the faith. It wasn't the courage. I knew I could hoop because that's why the girls were at UNT wanted me to hoop with them. Like, that's why they wanted me. Like, hey, you want to play teams? Hey, you want to play a pickup game? I couldn't do it. I felt like that call had died. But who knows? Maybe that was God giving me another shot. But I didn't have the faith. Fuck. I didn't have the faith, man, to allow God to do whatever he would have done. I didn't have the faith to allow him to do it. Because I was like, that calling died. I'm doing something different. I was in school. I went to school for film. Went to school for business. Went to school for creative writing. I went to school for fucking... what else? What else is on the repertoire? I can really say that. But I went to school. What the fuck did I do? Business, writing. Film, writing, business. All of that shit. I was like, this is my new call. Because I was like, that one had died. So, yeah, man. Accepting the call It's not always easy. It's something that you need to work through. But it's not, who knows? Maybe that is still part of it. But I don't know. Having the faith to accept the call and wonder what the call is I don't think it's ever changing, man. I think you always are under the umbrella of having a calling from God, but it's just being the faith, having the faith and the balls to actually accept it, man. That's the real, man. This is probably gonna be a part 2 because now I think that basketball in some capacity is still part of my calling because luckily I'm able to work with a company called HBCU Digital where I get to travel and cover like different basketball games for both men and women, college kids, and I get to chop it up with the players, man, and speak life into them, which is dope as hell, man. Like I was in the Virgin Islands. What was that? Yeah, I was in the Virgin Islands. I got to go out there and like really see how cool, like even as a coach or like as a marketer or as a just a light for those players, it's like it's cool. It's still like I get to dwell in that realm, and I don't have it's healing. I will say it's healing, but you don't want to live with regrets, man. Like the true call, it still may be my calling. Maybe that was God's divinity, like plan all along. Maybe it was, you know. But don't be afraid of the call. If you face adversity, it's okay to face adversity. But really allowing God to really, I think it's more so really when you ask God to use you as a vessel and he tells you, okay, well, I know you're passionate about this. I want you to see this through. Maybe it's a test. Because hooping maybe wasn't the call in that season or maybe as a player, but my mom would always speak life into me too. You know what, P? You know what, baby? You'll make a really good coach. And part of my calling too is I work with my nephew. So YMCA, I mess with the kids, I hoop with them, give them pointers. So I get to still dwell in that realm, but I think it's more so it's just evolved over time. So I think it's still calling. It just doesn't look in the way that I thought, but it was already written, man. So yeah, asking and knowing what the call is not always easy, but accepting the call and being able to see it through even when it gets hard, that's the most important thing, man. So accept the call. Peace. Love y'all.